The following program is rated G. It is suitable for all audiences.
3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to discuss to you the Shed Memorandum Order number 22 series of 2013. My partner has discussed a while ago the policies and guidelines for the section 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to recap what she said a while ago. So the Shed Memorandum or the Shed region office, not just the region office but also the central office, has revised policy standards or the so-called PSG of Student Internship Abroad Program. These are the articles that we need to consider. Article 1, Guiding Principle. First is Section 1. The Commission on Higher Education is mandated to develop and promote policies, systems, procedures, and programs that addresses globalization. Once we call it's globalization, address the globalization, that is the Asian integration. That is the reason why Philippines now is adopting and changing the curriculum from the high school curriculum into the K-12 transition program, so that we can address our students to the Asian integrations, so that they can more productive and more knowledgeable for the said program. Second is changing foreign policies and liberalizations of trade, goods, and services. That should consider that if our curriculum and policy guidelines would be mandated to all sectors and level of education in the Philippines, we can now promote our students to become more academic, more productive, and they can more sensitive enough with the cross-cultural issues. That is why the SHED revises the policies and standards in terms with the abroad or the so-called the OJT or internship program of the students. Section number 2. The prevalence of practice of sending tertiary students for training and internship abroad requires that SHED adopt measures to ensure the safety and well-being of these students while providing them applied learning opportunities. Why we need to have the set of rules and policies if we're going to send our students abroad or here in the Philippines? Why? First is that we need to have the security and safetyness of our students. What are the learnings that the industry could help or engage to the students? What are the grounds of the industry that they're going to enhance our students? That is more applicable if we have this so-called Memorandum of Agreement. Section 3. The SHED issues these policies for the standard guidelines of Students Internship Abroad program for students enrolled in public and private higher education institution or the HEIs. As far as I remember, Ramon Magsaysay Memorial Colleges, Holy Trinity Colleges, and Medina Polytechnic College, they have the so-called exchange students. These exchange students, those are the students with a center of excellence. They are excellent in their academic and also with extracurricular activities. They have more productive and more individualistic scholarship to conduct and to engage themselves into the countries like, for example, Albania, Singapore. In that case, the students are more diverse in terms of the culture. As I said in section 1 and 2, the students should be more diverse in cross-cultural activities. Second is that would be our benefits, because we can now manage and we can have this evaluation and assessment of our curriculum in terms with what are the trends in the Asian integrations, Asian countries, what are the trends in the Europe curriculum that we're going to be part of our curriculum in these generations. Second, the third one, I think is the fourth one, is the articles of definitions, or the Article 2, definition of terms. Accredited program refers to the programs accredited and recognized by the bodies. When we say recognized by the bodies, it says the Board of Trustees and the Presidents have already discussed the grounds of the policies and also considering the policies and guidance given by the chair. In that case, the MSU, Holy Trinity, and the Bank Science, they have the so-called PASCO accreditations and the ISO level accreditations. In that case, all of the programs and courses in the said accreditations have the COE, Center of Excellence. Once you have the Center of Excellence, you are now capable enough to send your students or to have a partners industry outside the Philippines. Last one is Level 2 accredited programs. Refers to these programs that are more equipped and more knowledgeable, and more the so-called standardizations of the quality assurance, or they follow what the set rules of the curriculum and the Philippine theoretical and curriculum frameworks. Next is cross-cultural training. We need to have this behavioral attitude or the skills required for the successful interactions of our students, but also to the outside the Philippines, because our culture is very diverse. We all know that. We have lots of tribes here: Balaan, Magindanaon, Tausug, and maybe more. If we're going to consider those kind of interactions within the community, but also outside for the globalizations, most oftentimes students in the highland are not capable enough to send themselves, or no, the parents are not capable enough to send their children in the cities for the quality of educations, because they have this kind of mindset that if you are manubo or whatsoever, if you graduate in high school, you remain manubo. But then again, the so-called cross-cultural training refers to the communications that requires our students to become more successful and more diverse, more proud of themselves. If we're going to have this kind of set in our education system, most oftentimes our culture will be more diverse, will be more familiar, will be more developed in terms with the education system. Next is foreign host establishment or organization refers to recognize the registered entries in the country of destinations as training venues for the students. I remember that most of the master's degree who took up master's degree, we have this scholarship program, transition program from the K-12 transition program that the graduate or the faculty have the ability and have the assurances to have an education and master's educations outside the country, like Vietnam, Singapore, Canada, and to address their needs so that the curriculum of those masters and the theses that they going to conduct that in our research will going to be benefited to the Philippines curriculum. Next one is, before we're going to have connections outside the school, we need to have the agency councils or the agency that are going to discuss if this agency are legitimate registered in the POAA. Because our concern is that the students' security. Is that the agency in the Philippines, or certain agency, are not involved in human trafficking? Because there are our issues in the Philippines government right now, and the current issues is that most oftentimes students have engaging in this kind of situation that they are you familiar with the scam? Scam and the human trafficking are most often pursuant in the RA or Republic Act number 9208 for the Anti-Trafficking Law Act of 2003. We need to consider that one. We need also to ask permits, legitimate permits are these recognized by the POAA, recognized ba siya with the government or the DFA? Next is, I'm going to discuss to you the Article 4. What are those guidelines? Okay. Or the scope. All internship conducted abroad for purposes of completions or academic degree shall be governed by the CMO, or the so-called Shared Memorandum Order. This CMO has the implementing guidelines. First, Section 6, requirements for parties involved. Section 7, obligation and responsibility of the parties. Section 8, free charges. Section 9, procedure. Section 10, memorandum of agreement for the parties involved and monitoring evaluations, offenses, and sanctions. We have the sample of MOA. Our school, South College of Arts and Technology, has 2 MOA. First MOA is that we have from the DepEd Division Office, and the second MOA is from the partner industry. First, I'm going to discuss to you the MOA from the industry. Why we need to have a MOA from the industry? First is that in BTT and BTVTN we have 4 years, but the 2 years in that one is that the technical ability or skills of our students that we need to discuss in also to home with the teachers in the 4 corners of the classrooms. I do believe that what we have learned in the fourth corner of the classroom, that is a 10% knowledge. But the application is the outside. The 90% is more in applications. But you have learned that it's just a theoretical framework. But the actualizations is in the on-the-job training, or the so-called the internship programs. The basis of that, the first part we were going to discuss and amend of what the industry, for example, the PPA, the Philippine Port Authority, they're going to have this kind of guidelines, or the CB guidance, curriculum guidance of what the industry could help the students, or what are they going to develop from the students, what are the areas that are going to develop from the students. For example, you are electrical students, you are not allowed to have an OJT like ICT because your focus is on electrical. The ICT naman, you are not allowed also to have a photography for the rest of your life. Or the CMO stated that the OJT 1 from the BTTE comprises of the 240 hours. The 240 hours should have a journal, what you have learned from the day, operations, and also you need also to have the so-called guidelines on doing such a thing. For example, in ICT, you need to become more knowledgeable on how you're going to reformat the computers, and electrical, you are more knowledgeable also to connect. What are those how are we going to troubleshoot if there's something wrong with the connections, the short circuit siya? What are those lines that we need to consider? Diba? And also, the second MOA that we have is from the MOA Memorandum of Agreement in the DepEd. Why we need to have the Memorandum of Agreement from the DepEd? Because that is the only thing that we can send our students from the observations to the practical work for becoming a practice teacher. Let's start with the FS1 to 6. From FS1 to 6, the students were going to conduct at one, or observe at one, the curriculum, assessment curriculum, the classroom management, the how to becoming a 21st century teachers, the environment of the school, and the classroom, how the teachers conducted an exams, and how the teachers help the students to uplift the morale to become a better students. I remember last year, one of our 4th year students, I sent him from the school that I've known, and my partner's school is Fatima National High School. One of the students there, he have accredited teachers, that accredited teachers gave him a calculus subject that is not belong to our curriculum. So in that case, we need also to reconsider and read the content of the memorandum, what are those subject matters that we need to give to our students. Our students that time is a BTTE electrical. So it's not part in our curriculum of having a calculus subject in our curriculum. So what I did is that I talked to the teachers and also the principals that my students are not capable enough to teach a calculus. But then if my students could handle Filipino, English, Math, College Algebra, and any minor subjects, they can handle that subject because they undergone that one from the first year to third year. But go beyond to our curriculum, calculus is not part of our curriculum. So what we did is that if the major subject of the students is electrical, need also to focus on the electrical subjects and also a minor subjects. In that end, we are not allowed to say no. If the principal or our curriculum head will give us a subject, yes. But the mindset of that, we need also to teach our students what the stated and stipulated on the memorandum of agreement. So we need to teach our students on how to make lesson plan, how are we going to become more effective teachers, how are you going to make your lesson plan better and more efficient, that the students could interact with you. I know our students, our fourth year students, are more knowledgeable in terms with the lesson planning. 4 A's, explicit, 5 A's, inquiry, and semi-detailed, and daily lesson planning. The Fatima National High School use 4 A's. The Bulan National High School use is semi-detailed. The Labagan National High School use the DDL. So in that case, our students could more progress and more competitive if we're going to let our students to go outside the box and also to facilitate them on what should be done in a subject matter. As a teacher, our Bible is a curriculum guide. We are not allowed to go outside the box for the curriculum guide. What statement in the curriculum guide should be teach on the students. Okay? So what I'm trying to say right now is that it's either we're going to have an embassy partner outside the school or outside the country and having a broad internship. For example, Mindanao Polytechnic College, I graduated from the MPC. We have this kind of internship program or the apprenticeship program given by the school. We need to have 1 year or 9 months internship program outside the country. So it means our marine engineering students and marine transportation students should undergo marine apprenticeship or the so-called apprenticeship for 900 hours. Our partners that time, way back 2009, is Marine Navigations and Magsaysay Navigation. So I'm very blessed because I've undergone the apprenticeship for the FO. I undergone training in Libra, which is the cruise ship. That's the school has the ability to send you what company you are to be with your OJT in the abroad. So as a Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management, we have these 4 kinds of OJT: land-based, sea-based, air-based, and in our school. In sea-based, I've undergone abroad apprenticeship for 9 months in Libra, that is cruise ship, Star Cruise. In air-based, I undergone air-based in Cebu Pacific and the land-based in the Boracay. So in that manner, our school, before we're going to have the apprenticeship abroad, our school give the assurances regarding with the fees and payments of our curriculum in abroad. And also, we need to consider the time limit, how long the students and how long we are we going to conduct our on-the-job training abroad. So, it's stated there in Article 5 that the memorandum of agreement should be addressed to the partners that needs to consider the needs of the students and also the parties. Because if we're going to discuss this all about the sections and the policies in the CMO number 22 series of 2013, it's a lot of discussions. So in that case, I already discussed to you from the Article 1 to the Article 5 and all the offenses and grounds for the CMO number 22 series of 2013. I know that everybody could have enlightened their mind on what would be the possibilities of not having a memorandum of agreement or sending your students into an industry or a country without further details, memorandum agreements, and legal documents that set by the government of the Philippines. That we need to consider that our students, safety first of our students, diba? We need to avoid the human trafficking. We need to avoid the we need to avoid the bullying, and also the as I said about that the anti-trafficking and also the scam are the money that we need to involve in OJTs. So that's for now. I would like to congratulate everybody for listening to me for my report. So that's the end of my report regarding with the CMO number 22 series of